Welcome back. It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz. We thank you for joining us. Our guest is Jennifer Weed. She is a PhD student at UC Riverside, and she recently returned from a trip to Poland as part of a fellowship with the Auschwitz Jewish Center. Congratulations on your fellowship. How did you come to get this honor?
Actually, it was recommended to me by one of my professors at Cal State San Bernardino, and he said it was a long shot, but you might as well apply, and I applied, and I was one of the 10 graduate students that made it.
And what are you getting your PhD in? What's your focus?
My focus is, my research area actually is modern European history, and my focus is Nazi Germany and the Holocaust, so that's what I write on.
And I have to ask, you've told me that you're not a Jewish American, no. So I'm just wondering, how did you come to be interested in this space?
I actually started reading about it when I was younger. I had some tragedy in my family that kind of made it resonate with me, and then once I started reading, I really could not stop.
Talk to me about your trip to Poland and to Auschwitz.
Poland is amazing. Poland is not just Auschwitz.
Of course.
A lot of people think that that's all it is. It's a one big death camp, but it's not. Krakow is the most beautiful city I've ever been to.
I have been, and it is stunning.
It is amazing. And
Warsaw is a big city.
Warsaw is a huge city.
Krakow is stunning.
Krakow is beautiful and old and very typical European. But as far as Auschwitz, Auschwitz is a very very interesting place to visit. The birds still sing there,
right? Which
is odd. We went on a
sky's still blue.
Exactly.
Right.
It was a beautiful day when we went, and it's very emotional, I think.
I want to talk to you about your perception of the Polish people today. I mean, as you know, Poland before the Holocaust was 12% Jewish. Warsaw was a third Jewish. Lodz was a third Jewish. Now the number of Jews in Poland is probably not even 5 figures. And so what's the Polish people's perception of the Nazi-era Jews, in your perception?
Well, from what I understand, the Holocaust history resonates very strongly with there. They live with it every day. It's very much a part of how they live, but they are not overall fiercely anti-Semitic, from what I've noticed. Now, the older population may be a little different, but from the younger population that I interacted with, I can see that they think this is a huge gap in their history. The loss of Polish Jewry is a problem.
Do they see that? Because I know, I've read about it, as our viewers know. I mean, there was an 800-year history of Jews living in Poland, and now it's just vanished. So do they see it as a loss, or I'm glad they're gone?
I don't think they see it as I'm glad they're gone. Now, like I said, the older generation may feel differently. The younger generation very much sees it as a hole that they're trying to refill. So that they're doing it with things like the Krakow Jewish Festival. They're looking into Jewish culture and history, the preservation. I don't think that they're glad they're gone. I think the younger people are stumbling upon this hole and finding it a problem and trying to fill it.
And I understand that some younger people are stumbling upon their own history and realizing that they have Jewish ancestry.
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, it's hard not to when such a large part of the population was Jewish at one time. I've been to Poland, and I met with many of these older people, and it was interesting. My experience was that they wanted to help. They wanted to answer questions. It was as if they were waiting for someone to come and ask what happened 65 years ago. Did you have that experience as well?
We constantly had older people coming up to us at certain stages, like at the ghetto wall in Warsaw, and at the ghettos in Krakow and Warsaw. They came up to us a lot to ask us what we thought, if we wanted anything more, things like that.
I want to hear about your dissertation because it is a fascinating one. Tell us about it and how this trip informs your dissertation.
Okay, well, my dissertation is on the Sonderkommando of Auschwitz-Birkenau. They are the Jewish crematorium workers. They did everything from the undressing room to the gas chamber to the crematoria. They handled all of that. It was probably the most horrific job you can imagine, but a lot of people don't write on them necessarily because it's so horrific. So my visiting Auschwitz was huge because it's mostly spatial. Not only was I there where they lived and they worked and they died, but spatially I could understand where they did so, and that's hard to get from a book.
I want to congratulate you on your fellowship. I want to thank you for your wisdom about your recent trip to Poland, and I can't wait to read the dissertation. I'm that guy that would read it.
Thank you.
Okay, her name is Jennifer Weed. She is a PhD student at UC Riverside. My name is Brad Pomerantz. We're going to send you back to HLN.